problem is the system oppresses us with time. They kill you with time. They don't want you to move around. It's slavery, if you understood it or not. Why can't we just work 4 hours per day? Why the system must be 9 hours? COVID forced us to rethink that work from home is actually possible, and then productivity doesn't dip. It has proven to us that we do not necessarily need to be behind a desk for 9 hours, because half of it is spent scrolling away in IG Reels anyway. All right, so some of you internship, right? SMU, just come back, right? Tell me, do you really honestly work 9 hours? Nah, don't kid yourself. You're not meant to do that for 9 hours anyway. It's boring. There's no kick in it. There's no excitement in it. Right? We drag ourselves to work on a Monday. So that's not the real purpose. If that was the real purpose, there's no Monday blues. Right? You will excitedly go to work and kill yourself at work. But we don't do that. We're humans. We have different quotients. Work is meant to fulfill our bodily quotient, put food on the table, have money for transport and any other expenses. But that's not you. You have been duped to think that's you. Stop duping yourself. We want to wake you up from the deception. There's more to you. There's something called the heart. There's something called the soul. There's something called your essence. Find that. Find that with information which is not mixed up with superstitions and blind traditions. Go back to the real source. Find yourself. Right? We want you to find you. Right? So God has given us an indication of why you live. To find Him. To find Him is to find you. When you find yourself, your reality behind everything, you will find Him. Now, everybody got some writing materials? No? Okay, it's fine. Can you take out your handphone? I believe everyone has a handphone. Anyone that doesn't have a handphone? Then you are the exception in this. Yeah.
No.
I had one friend, Polly, refuses to carry the handphone around. So you got a handphone. Now, I want you to, is it on lock screen? Is it on lock screen now? Without the help of your thumb, I want you to open up that, without the help of your thumb, both thumbs, no thumbs, open it up. Open up your main screen. Go to WhatsApp, check your messages, which you cannot. You imagine you got no thumb. You can't hold the phone with your thumb. Some of you still holding with your thumb. Yeah, no support with thumb. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, open up your WhatsApp or your Telegram. You know, how I cannot? You need to use the thumbprint for. Open it up. Hey, you're still using the thumb. You're not listening to instructions. No thumbs allowed. You're still using your thumb, sister. No thumbs allowed. That's it. But you're holding the whole phone with your thumb. Yeah, no thumb. Okay, very good. Now, without the use of your second finger, can you scroll up and down to other apps? There's only, imagine you got 3 other fingers. 3 other fingers. Yeah, hold the phone. Don't put it on the table. Hold the phone. Now, without the help of your third finger, can you continue using these two? Just these two. Yeah, continue. You're holding the phone like that. You're not supposed. Imagine you got no more 1, 2, 3 fingers. You're left with 2 fingers here and 2 fingers there. Hold on to your phone. Try to scroll. Try to type a message or 2 with your these 2. Now imagine you got no 4th finger. You got left with 2 pinkies. Open up. You're still holding your phone with the help of your thumb. You're cheating. Yes, 2 finger. Uncomfortable. Possible to get any task done. Why? But it's your finger. What you should be able to, like, Mr. Elastico, spread and do whatever. You can't. You are limited. You are limited, aren't you? Life becomes uncomfortable. Life becomes dysfunctional without the help of the faculties which you didn't design, which you didn't intricately put. You don't even know how many cm your fingers are. How many fingers your what is the index finger is? Did you find out? Did you go and measure? We gave you the homework first session, right? Do you know how many cm is your index finger? You don't know. You don't know stuff about yourself. Right? Some of you forgot how many lungs we had. How many lungs we have? 1 lung, right? 1 pair. Yes. And 1 kidney, right? 1 pair of kidney and 1 heart. But we have that one. No one is confused. But we behave as though we have 2 hearts. We behave as though we have many hearts. How much stuff can 1 heart hold? Only 1 at a time. right? So we came here to find out stuff about yourself and find yourself intimately before you return back to something called death. You will be dead one day, I will be dead one day. May you have a long, productive life, but that's a fact. Will you die one day? Then get ready and pack your bags right. It's a destination which is not supposed to be very frightening. You're supposed to enjoy because you're going on a trip. But you need to know where your trip is to. You will only be anxious when you do not pack the right bag, you do not check in at the right counter. Then you should be anxious. And you should be anxious if you do not know where your destination is. So we want to help you to find and give you some indications. In accordance with Islamic faith, what are all these things all about? And then we also discuss this particular chapter of the Holy Quran in chapter 47, namely, it is named Surah Muhammad, or chapter, Surah means chapter, and in verse 19, God gives us an indication. What do you really need to know? Know that do not worship creations. Creations are you and me. We are in need. We need to breathe. Without breathing for a moment or without having full faculties of your fingers, life becomes uncomfortable. Without breath, you are dead. A minute, 10 seconds, oxygen doesn't reach your brain. Those in special needs, they taught me, right? 10 seconds, oxygen doesn't reach your brain. Things become, dysfunctional and stuff like that. 10 seconds, the oxygen must reach your brain and you are not in control, nor are you even aware how to take one breath. Right? And we tried that experiment in the first session, right? We asked you to hold your breath for a minute, and then we couldn't hold beyond a minute or two. And then we felt also helpless and desperate to take that breath. When you go swimming, right? You try to hold your breath. When you come up, you're like, oh, that's your desperateness that you fail to admit. That's us, right? We are in need. We need oxygen, we need food, we need drink, we need sleep, we need so many things. We need to go toilet also, right? The person without the ability to go toilet, they have to carry a urine bag. And how difficult is that, right? So what is really our truest purpose in living every day? To find out who is in charge. Are you really in charge of everything about yourself? You don't even know how to breathe. Then who is then? Did you choose your parents, any of you? Oh, I chose my parents. I had an option ABC. This should be my parents, I should be a Caucasian, I should be a European, I should be a Asian, I should be a Filipino, I should be a Chinese, I should be Indian. Did you choose your ethnicity? Did you have any participative choice? Did they give you MCQ in the mother's womb? Can you choose? Do you remember? You did not have any choice to live. You are forced to live. Without your conscious effort, you are forced to exist. What force is that? That same force will cause you and me to die. What force is that? That force is a mighty force. And that force definitely has a name. That force definitely has characteristics. Isn't it intriguing that such a powerful force, we are confused about it or him in that sense? So, really, to find out things that affect you, your life, your death, and everything in between, you need to find that mystery and get back home. Right? And that's why you live one more day. That's why you really need one more day. You going to work is really just to put food on the table, but nothing more than that. It's for you to buy groceries at Mustafa Center or Sheng Siong and NTUT. Doesn't care. There's no competition in how much groceries you need. Your job title at the end of the day is to buy groceries. Who cares if you have a bigger fridge than me or a bigger car? Maybe you got a family of 5. You need a bigger fridge. Maybe another one has family of 2. So what if the fridge is smaller or the TV is not 65-inch? Right? It really doesn't matter. What really matters is you and what affects you on a deep note. Right? And we also discussed a bit of this logical argument. You can take a look quickly at these 3 sentences. Fact 1 or sentence 1, the universe exists contingently. What is another word for contingent? What's another word for contingent? Dependent or in need. The whole universe is in need of stuff to exist. The sun even needs so many elements to exist. The sun is not independent, even though it's the biggest source of life, causing so many things to happen on Earth. Right? So anything that is dependent needs a necessary being to make it exist. It needs an independent being. Therefore, conclusion, the mind reaches a conclusive understanding about it. Instead of leaving it on a spiral confusion, the universe needs the necessary being to make it exist. Follow? This is a logical argument, and there is protocols to argue properly for the mind. Sometimes it's called a loaded question. Things like, oh, if everything is created by God, then who created God? That's a loaded question which you do not know how to apply your logic properly, number one. Because we did not study logic. There's a way to think logically. Right? So there's certain questions which doesn't make sense, which doesn't fit into the category of logic. So we want to implore you also to use your rational mind, your faculty of thinking, and think hard. Think hard. Yeah. And then it's not necessary to follow a set of blind traditions that you're born into. If it doesn't make sense, the so-called the lazy approach is, I'm born into it, I'll just stick to it. No, that's really discounting yourself. That's discounting your intellect. That's discounting your rationality. Why do you need to follow something blindly? In this age of information, in this age of rationality, in this age of science, do we still want to stick to some traditions which were just inherited blindly or with superstitions? That's unfair. That's unfair for you. That's unfair for you. If there is a higher way or a better way of doing things, don't we adopt in technology? The same way applies to your intellect. Even though sometimes you have to swim against the tide because of cultural ignorance. There's something called cultural ignorance because they just want to have some solace. Oh, this is what my father did, my grandfather did, my great-grandfather did. So you just do lah. But why should it be that way? Why should it be that way? Right? In this age of technology and science. Right? And is there a need for religion? When we say religion, it is not a man-made mandate to just regulate our lives. No. When we are looking and exploring religion or we're studying about religion, we have to study it like a scientist. Use a rational mind. We're going to study it like an academician. Find a higher understanding of that subject matter. In this case, religion. Right? So a religion should be able to be derived from evidences, not just a set of emotional, spiritual statements. Oh, you just got to believe. You got to let God enter you. No. First, the God who created the whole universe and He created intellect. The intellect, enjoins right to think about the God or the supreme intellect which created the intellect. The first right upon the intellect is to think about who created the intellect. What caused us all the ability to think, right? Not to just subdue it and put it somewhere else. No, an organic religion will guide you, will show you evidences to finding out scientific inquiry about yourself, about what affects you, and this subject matter called God. And any organic religion, first and foremost, must address the subject of divinity very clearly. It should not confuse us. If God wants us to know Him accurately, and that's what all contentions between religions are, the contentions between who is God, right? So organic religion, meaning a natural religion, which is derived from the divine, should give you clarity about God, should give you clarity about yourself. And there shouldn't be contradiction between whatever it is mentioned in the sources of these evidences. It should point very simultaneously, very coherently into consistency of creed and consistency of practice among the masses. Right? And as you notice, we have given you the Blue Quran. Whichever political sects that the Islamic world may have been fragmented into, there's only one Quran, which may not apply to the same for the previous Abrahamic faiths. There's so many versions, and where is the original one of it, which was revealed to the commissioned prophet, right? And the reliability of evidential track to find out the biography of the authors who really wrote those down, those fragments of information, also is almost historically impossible. So how do we know that this is primary evidence or secondary evidence? How much of it is reliable? So you can look at it as a historian too. Right? So compare the books, you do the comparisons. We'll just guide you about what is there in the Islamic faith. Moving on. Right? So there are two primary sources in the Islamic faith. One is the Holy Quran, which we understand to be the final revelation or the final testament from the same Lord of Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Solomon, David, and we believe in all of them all that they are prophets and men of God. Right? They were respected men of God, they were revered men and leaders, but they are creations. They are men. They lived, they ate, they died. Except for Jesus, who we believe did not die on the cross, rather he was raised up to the heavens, and we believe that he is coming again in the second coming, and we may be very close to witness all those events because a lot of things is happening in the Middle East especially. Right? So we believe that the final revelation was, why was there a need for the final revelation? Because previous revelations were not being able to be preserved in the original language of the prophet sent before us, before Prophet Muhammad. Right? So what remains on the bookshelf now are translated versions. That is not the same case for the Quran. Though we are referring to translations, the original Arabic manuscripts from the time of Prophet Muhammad until now is still being preserved. All we need to do, spend a few years to learn Arabic, you can go straight to the Arabic source. And there is no hierarchy that, oh, only a special caste can hold on to the Arabic language Quran. No, you and me, equal. No, as long as you have knowledge, go and decipher it, right? And then the second primary source in the Islamic Sharia or the Constitution are the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, who came to explain the words of God in a humanly sense, so that we can apply, deep concepts into everyday lives, right? And then to decipher modern world and things like is medical marijuana halal in the Islamic faith? Is organ transplant okay? Is etc. etc. Right? We need modern consensus and the analogy of expert scholars who are able to derive principles from the Quran, principles from the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, and give us a scholarly guidance, not the coffee shop uncle give you, okay, I think it's okay, I think it's not okay. No. We gotta go to scholars, because we are talking about, do you take medical advice from your uncles in the coffee shop? Hey, I think I got stomach ache. Oh, you take pochai. Pochai is it works most of the time. Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend that all the time. Right? And we discuss what is the technical definition of a Muslim. Who is a Muslim? A Muslim is the one who submits and surrenders his body, mind, heart, and soul. After reaching an intellectual, exhaustive conclusion, what's my reality between me and between God? And then we surrender, we submit, we admit our reality. We'll improve a bit more further about these topics in the short run. Alright? So we discussed there are 6 articles of faith in the Islamic tradition. So this is to do with things of your creed, your belief system. What are you supposed to believe in, and how are you supposed to look at the world view? How do you view the world? We call it Islamic worldview. Right? And there are 6 primary creed, which regardless of political differences between the Muslim world, this creed do not change. The first one is to believe in the oneness of God, to believe that God created angels who do not have free will. Therefore, we also discussed last 2 weeks ago, right? That Satan is not an angel in the first place. That he was never a fallen angel, because angels were created without free will. So how can he make a mistake and go against God? That is to say God made a mistake, and that's blasphemy. To say that God made a mistake is blasphemy. That's not God. God doesn't make a mistake. If you believe in a God that makes mistake, then you got a wrong logical flow of understanding of who is God. Because God, when you say God is all-knowing. He is infallible. He doesn't make mistakes. God is incapable of making mistakes. So that is the God that we Muslims believe in. That God is perfect. God is absolute. Right? God is not in need. Right? So Satan is not a fallen angel. And angels have specific duties. And one of them is to send down revelation from God to the commissioned prophets. Right? And we believe in all of them all, including the Gospels of Jesus, the Torah of Moses, the Songs of David, the Scrolls of Abraham, and any other revelation of scripture sent down to previous prophets of old. We believe in the original one of them all. But what has happened now in modern days, the original one in the preserved, authorized language, vetted by the prophets, are not accessible anymore. Who changes it? Not the prophets. Who edits it? Not the prophets. Who gave them authority to edit the words of Jesus and pass it off as the words of God? Or Moses or Abraham, or whoever is it? Who gave anyone the authority? No one can tell, right? So who gave them authority? How are they authorized to change whatever they want in whichever context they want? And they keep editing and interpolating and changing and etc. in context of the modern world and pass it off that is the words of God. That's definitely the words of God. That's your understanding of the words of God. Now, what we really want to go back to is the absolute word of God. For my obedience and loyalty is first and foremost to God, not to man's interpretation. That's why the Quran is preserved, right? And the explanation of the Quran comes through the Prophet Muhammad. The rest of it, we can differ. The rest of it, like for example, just now I showed you these two. It is not absolute that we have to agree to everything of the scholarly consensus. But this is absolutely from God and it's preserved. And it's verified and reliable, and we know how to trace it back to the source of the person or the author, namely Prophet Muhammad. And the word of God is absolutely from God himself, not from Prophet Muhammad. Right? And that's not the case for any other revelations of old. It has been changed by men who have no authority to change it, and they pass it off as the words of God. And that's unfair to God. That's unfair to Jesus. That's unfair to Moses. Right? And then we believe that there's last day that we will all die one day and we will come before God. So every oppression will be retributed. Whatever is happening in this particular part of the world, the whole world sees. They disagree to every single resolution and protest and etc. But there is something called the Day of Judgment. And we as Muslims, we are at ease in a sense that whatever oppression is happening, there will be a day of retribution. So rest assured that justice will be served. If not in this world, there is something called the Day of Judgment. Right? Every ounce of oppression will be retributed. So the least that we can do as humans or as Muslims is to make a prayer for those people who are oppressed in whichever part of the world. And we believe that everything has been decreed by God, that God knows every single action that we are going to decide on. Right? Not that He forces you to do certain things, but there are certain things that which are ordained. Things like your parents. It's ordained, you didn't choose. It's been fated that these are your parents. Right? And the day you die is fated. And many things in between are also fated. But there's one thing which is not forced upon you, to make a choice. To make a choice in life. To choose carefully who is your Lord and who is not your Lord. And the answers are quite clear. Worship God alone, the Creator. Do not worship creations, the things that are in need. And this is the eternal mission of mankind from Adam until now. And there's somebody called Satan, Mr. Satan. Right? Mr. Satan, what is his role? He is also a creation of God. His role is to come and confuse us, worship creation, worship animals, worship sages and human beings. They have powers and miracles. Absolutely divorced from God. This man is a man of God. He performs miracles. Therefore, he is God. Right? But what we understand in logical argument is miracles are basically a break of regular association by the necessary being. Because even miracles are dependent on God. That anyone walks on water or resurrects the dead is still by the permission of the Lord, who is not in need of anyone. He's not in need of anyone. Huh? So we believe in something called the divine decree that God knows, and anything that happens in our life, both the good and the unfavorable. There's some circumstances you might not like, it is still from the same law. That we do not differentiate between good luck and bad luck coming from two different sources. Good luck is also from God, unfavorable circumstances, sway, and all those things are also from God. Him also from God, sway also from God. A bit of Singlish, right? So we have discussed the articles of faith, 6. Then today we're going to discuss very quickly the 5 pillars of the practical aspects of Islam. You can see it. It's small. Yeah, you can refer to the one in there. And then if you notice, we have drawn for you nice in the heart over here. Then we built God in the center. And the Arabic name for God in that singular sense the best word to describe him is Allah. Now, it is not to be misconstrued that Allah is the God for the Muslims only. That is a common misconception that, oh, you have a different God, I have a different God because we're different race. No, we are speaking, but take a look very carefully at all of us. 2 eyes, 32 teeth, 1 nose, 2 ears. How are we different? How are we different? How are we different? We're not different. It's just same but different, right? Different shapes and colors and measurements and different language they speak, but all of us know how to eat a cupcake. All of us know how to eat prata in Singapore, right? Try prata if you haven't done so, right? Everybody eats prata. Everyone eats prata in Singapore. There's like one common dish that no one disagrees in Singapore, I guess, right? So, how are we different? Where are we different? Doesn't a Caucasian mom knows how to love her child? Doesn't a Chinese mom know how to love her child in the same way? Love isn't love a universal language? How are we different? The chair they're sitting upon, except the white ones, can we come to a conclusion that, oh, it's the same designer because it's all same function, same producer, therefore same creator. So look carefully. How are we different? Same product, same function. Therefore, producer same, designer same, creator same. Now we need to be explicit about who is then the creator. Where do we come to a common ground and erase the differences of opinion or understanding? Who then is the creator? And what is the best option of them all? You got to be, and many of you are business students in SMU, so you know something's called the opportunity risk, right? They call it the opportunity risk, opportunity cost. Yeah. So if you're studying business and you want to take the least risk of them all, right? Whenever you want to make an investment or a business venture, you got to take the least risk of them all. So even if you want to look at it that way, then choose a religion which has the least risk for your eternal salvation. Is being a free thinker the least risk of them all? Really? To deny who gives you critical help, that someone gives you $10,000 every day, you don't want to acknowledge, you're confused. You're confused about who's your mom and your auntie. You're confused about who's your dad and your uncle. Really? Would you live a satisfactory life that you do not know your mom, who gave birth to you? Even an orphan will crave, who's my mom, who's my mom, who's my mom? They want to know who's their mom. Even though the mom's mom or dad is not around. It's an innate nature. Then why have you allowed that thing to settle deep down? Why have you stopped asking, where did I come from? Who am I? Who's my Lord? Ask, who's my Lord? Who's my real Lord? And why are there so many Lords? If all of them are Lords, which one of them is true? And isn't it your right, isn't it your divine right, your truest right, that you ask yourself, who am I and who started me off? Who really raised me? Who? Can a man do so? Can an animal do so? Can the celestial objects do so? Why should I take everything, bow down to everything, when those things are also in need? That's unfair. Do not degrade yourself for anything lesser than you, or you're on the same plane. Men? No. Men are dependent. Sages and gurus and prophets, no, they're men. They eat and drink. You eat and drink. They can't help you in any way, even though they're prophets. Animals, you have seen circus shows, not that I agree with them, but man can subdue lions and elephants. So is the animal higher than you that you ask divine grant and you bow down to an animal when man controls animal with their intellects and of course lack of food and everything that's oppression. Don't go to circuses, by the way. Don't support circuses. It's inhumane. Right? Stop going to circuses. Right? And then what do you call that? Some people worship the plant kingdom. They go to the jungles. Is a tree lesser than you? Is a tree higher than you? Are you lesser than a tree? Definitely not. A tree needs water, it needs sunlight, it needs chlorophyll, they say. You remember no chlorophyll. Right? It needs so many things to succeed. So why are you bowing down to something which itself is in need? How is it going to help you? It's not helping you in any way. Why bow down and ask for grants? And some people worship the celestial object, the sun and the moon. Are you lower than the sun? Even though it's a mighty object, right? But the sun is in need. The sun also is not independent. Then who then is independent? We need to reach this conclusion. This spiral staircase which leaves you wondering. And then what do we do? What does modern society do? What secularism does? Stop thinking about all this stuff. Just work. Keep your prayers to the Sunday masses and your Friday prayers at your mosques and your churches and your synagogues. Don't bring God into the picture. We want to be godless. Stop thinking about God. That's what they tell you. That's to say, stop thinking about yourself. Just subdue to me. Work. We control the monetary system. We control what you want to see. We control what you want to buy. We control what you want to eat. And that's what they're doing. So a man who thinks or a woman who thinks deeply will be able to come out of the system and say, oh, there's A and there's B, right? And there's a force of good and evil. There's a force of oppression and slavery. How do I liberate myself? And liberate yourself, right? Liberate your thinking first. Stop allowing yourself to be numbed and allow others to do the thinking for you. Yeah, study, read. Think deeply, have some time. There's no time for yourself because you're always scrolling. And that's what they want you to do. Don't be comfortable with a moment with yourself. You're always anxious for doing something. You're changing time. Take a moment, take an hour for yourself. Sit down, go to the beach, disconnect your Wi-Fi and your internet and think. Think deeply. What am I? I'm already 20-something. I'm 30. How long more I have left? What am I supposed to do with life? What's really satisfactory about life? Eating satay? I'm not sure why it's satay. Right? Or drinking your favorite coffee or tea? Is that all you have? Is that all you have? No, there's much more to you than all of this food, which eventually we dump it in the toilet bowl. Right? That's what makes of all these things eventually. That's not you and me. That's not what you're supposed to be infatuated about. You're going to be infatuated about your origin and your destination. Feel me? Understand? Ming Bible. Okay? So now we come to discussion about the 5 pillars of Islam. There are 5 practical pillars of Islam. After one understands and he reaches a conclusion, he or she reaches a conclusion, there's only one God, and then we believe in the creed of them all. Now, how do I thank the one who gives me a lot of things? Now, if I give you $10,000, what you should say? Oh, let's form an agreement that how you can pay your debtor back, your creditor back, right? The world works like that. Some of you are in student loan, right? How many of you in student loan? Can you raise your hands up? Good. So did you sign a contract to pay back your loan? Did they leave you? It's okay, you're studying, you're a student. Now take a grant and don't worry about it, Mr. Po. When you work, never mind. Does any institution do that to you? No, they say make sure you sign. And once you start working, you better pay. And if you don't pay, they will send you debt. Sometimes the rate one you better be careful. You're studying, right? No one lets you off for $1, whether it's Singapore, what do you call that? What? SP services, is it? Chun, they will send you an e-bill. Right? Whether it's Tong Sampah, the Singapore Conservancy, what do you call that? The Tong Sampah bill, $48 for a 5-room flat. One time they send it to you. And if you don't pay, they will send you SMS. Is $48? Oh, 96. Yeah. Discount one. Yeah, sorry. I just paid. Alright? You want to park in your car lot, you gotta pay. Resident parking. Where in Singapore anything for free? Yeah, nothing is free. So you have been enjoying life for a good 2 decades, 3 decades. Do you think it's free? It can be free if it's yours. Don't die if life is yours. Continue living forever. Life is not yours. Therefore, that's why you die. You and me will die one day. Because it's not yours. If it's not yours, then whose is it? You're gonna find out. And we're trying to find out. And then to really feel the origin and the destination. Right? So that once one understands that we all started from somewhere, from that one source, and we then realize that a lot of things is being given to us by that one source, then what then we do? We start to acknowledge. The first step is to acknowledge, to admit, to say that that one God who created me and everything else in between is deserving of acknowledgement. Do you, I believe most of you have had family dinners. When you go to a family dinner, there's your elders, your mom and your dad and your grandfather and etc., your grandmother. Do you not acknowledge them? Like, especially in Asian culture, we will say, eat first, father, mother, eat, then you will eat. Say, come, let's eat. Or you say a grace or two, or in Islamic tradition, we say a prayer or two before we begin. We do not get up before our elders do, right? Before our teachers do, etc. We wait until they finish. These are part and parcel of mannerism. You come to the dinner table, like most of you, now what, Gen? Z already, the final generation. Right? So you come to the table, get ready, no, but really, pack your bags. Get your bags ready, because a lot of things might change in the world situation, right? COVID came, it locked up for 2 years. Do not think it might not come around in another form. So just get ready, right? Anyway, we don't go to that. So you come to the dinner table or the lunch, with your father and your mother, and you start using your phone, and then you do this. So how many of you do this? How many of you are guilty of that? In front of your mom, and hey, don't do that. 22. He just became a Muslim. 22? 22. JV2 just took he became a Muslim just 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Athena, she took her Shahada 2 weeks ago in SMU too. But she's not able to be here today. So pray for them, make a prayer or two. Yeah. Alright. Meaning they became a Muslim means they have identified their relationship and the reality between themselves and God and the world. And they have identified themselves that I am a monotheist. I worship only the one true Lord who gives me everything. And he is formless. He doesn't need a statue or an idol that I need to put it into shapes for my humanly mind to understand. And if that is the case, that is not God. You are limiting God to something of your level. Then same already. That's not God. God is beyond you. There are some parameters in SMU we do not have permission to enter. Only authorized personnel can enter, right? Because they are high ranking, You can't go to the dean's office or the director's office, say, I just want to sit down and have a chit chat. No. There are certain parameters you can't enter. There are certain parameters with the Lord, you can't enter, nor can I. Yeah? So we start with the declaration and sanctification in your heart, in your body, and your mind and your soul. That I am going to only thank the one and worship the one who created me and the one who's going to take my life away. He is deserving of God. He is the one who's worthy of being worshipped. He is the one who's deserving of being, infatuated about, obsessed about, or asking for divine grants. No one else is, because no one else can grant me any good nor protect me from any harm. Not even to a single, percentage. Right? Who can only give me anything and protect me from any harm? The one who created and started it all off. Yeah? So that is called the testification of faith or the declaration of the admittance. Right? And that is the universal pledge that all Muslims, when anyone wants to be a Muslim, meaning anyone wants to return back to the original state of your reality, that is the one pledge that we say in Arabic. Anytime anyone wants to do that, we say at least once in our life in Arabic, and then we live by it in meaning. Alright? That is what unites us. There is no difference between a Chinese or an Indian or an Arab or a Malay when you become a Muslim. We are all equal. What differentiates us is your purity of your heart. How good of a person are you? How God conscious you are. It doesn't matter how many years you are a Muslim. Maybe a new Muslim may be better in consciousness of God and in purity of the heart versus a person who might be a Muslim for 60 years, but he's not God conscious, right? He may be born Muslim, but that's not what differentiates you. What differentiates you is your character, your devotion to God, your knowledge of God, and your consciousness of God. Right? And there's something that we Muslims do to, if you notice, I did not put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What did I do? I did 1 A, B, C. Do you notice that? Why? Because each one of these 4 is actually to reaffirm your pledge and to live by it. Is to re-acknowledge, is to create a habit or reaffirmation of the declaration. Why do we pray? Is because we declare there's only one God and we want to prove that by our bodily actions. So Muslims pray 5 times a day. Once in the morning, right? Once in the afternoon, once in the evening before the sun sets, once the sun sets, and once the sun is fully set. Right? Breakfast, tea break, lunch, coffee break, and dinner. If you break it down, there 5 times to recharge our souls. To take a break from your computers and your devices and say, thank you, Lord, for waking me up in the morning. Thank you, Lord, for giving me everything from morning till lunchtime. Thank you, God, for giving me everything and everything in between and accomplishing my task and my work and my recreation from afternoon to evening. And thank you, Lord, for allowing me to enter the night. And thank you, Lord, for everything you have done for me the whole day. And I hope you wake me up one more day and give me the salary of life one more day so that I can get closer to you and commune with you and get an intimate relationship with you. It's basically a love story. Some of you, you have partners. Hey, you eat already not? Have you eaten, babe? Honey? Hey, where's the honey? Haven't come? Where's your mother? We brought for you some honey to give you as gifts. Did you already? Anyway. Yeah. So you text your partners, right? Where is this? And how are you? Have you done this? Have you done that? How's the day? Some of you good morning. After you expect a good night. You sleep first lah. No, you sleep first lah. And all of you do that for love in the name of love. The real love and the real beloved is the one who took care of you and will never disappoint you and has never broken your heart even once. That's your Lord. Even though you refuse to acknowledge him and you pray hard to get. All the time. You refuse to reply his text and his messages. You refuse to see his signs and his small little, cute little postages everywhere. You refuse to see all of them. You refuse to see the breath that he takes for you without you having any participation. You refuse to see that your eyes blink so that your eyes can be watered so that you can enjoy everything else in life. You refuse to see that. You refuse to see that your voice walks and your hearing works very well to hear every single music that you have heard. You refuse to see that. You refuse to see that your tongue has the ability to learn so many languages and to commune and to have meaningful relationship with many people. You refuse to see that. When are you going to see this? When are you going to mature enough to break away from entertainment and let the real light enter our hearts? See carefully, really. There are so many things which no one can do for you. No one can do for you. No hospital can restore your eyesight for you. No hospitals can restore your heartbeat for you. Who has been doing that? And it's not you. It's not you. Number one, you can admit it's not you. Because you don't even know how to function your heartbeat or your breath. Or the number of times your eyes must blink. I do not know how to do that. You do not know how to do that either. We can study the physics of it. That's about all to see how it works. But how to make it work, it's not you and me. That's why we say La ilaha illallah. None is capable of helping me critically, like for my desperate needs, other than the one who created it all. And I really need to find him because he is so nice to me. He is the nicest one, never asks anything in return, just say acknowledge me. Say I love you. Just say I love you. How long more you need to? Keep on knocking on your door. When you open the heart and say, yeah, it's you. It's always been you. It's always been you. I refuse to see. Yeah. So that's basically the declaration of faith. And then we prove it up. You keep on saying I love you to your mom, but you don't do anything for her. That's unfair. That's irresponsible. Love must be responsible. You love God, that's good, but you got to do certain things to prove that love. Not that he needs anything from you. Your mom is aged now. What you should do is acknowledge her, spend some time with her. Does she expect you to pay all the Pampers money that she spent on you? No. What does she expect? Filial piety, respect, love. Spend time with her. What does God expect from you? Not your money, your love, your filial piety, your acknowledgement, right? And then there's something called the zakah. Zakah is the obligatory alms that the rich gives to the poor to balance social equity, right? And then there's something called fasting in Ramadan, and there is a final pillar of Islam called the Hajj, where we perform a pilgrimage to Makkah if conditions able us to do so. Moving on. Questions though? Understand so far? Can ask. We take a break for questions. No questions? Okay. Take a look at these 4 boxes that we have put for you over here. To understand the first pillar of Islam is to understand our relationship between us and the Lord. Number 1, as creations, we acknowledge that there is one creator. The one that started it all off. Whether you believe in the Big Bang or whatever theory that is available in science, still, it is still created by the one creator. Can that be true? We have discussed that quite thoroughly in the first session. Right? Therefore, the opposite of the creator is us or me. We are me. The creator is not in need, I'm in need. Yeah? And therefore, anything that is the creator that creates everything within the universe, the 7 heavens and the 7th earth, therefore owns it. He owns every single cell in the universe that he created. He produced it. He is the one who is the start of the raw material. So he owns it. Yeah? And therefore he is the sovereign Lord, the king. And anything that is opposite of that is earthly, that is owned, that do not have too much rights. Yeah? And therefore, anything that is owned, anyone who owns everything and is sole monopoly, he is the one who can provide stuff for us. That he created us, that he owns everything, and he is the one who is providing us. And what are we actually doing? We are receiving. We are on the receiving end. This moment, the food and the drink, we have been always on the receiving end. We have never been giving. We have always been receiving. If you notice, your whole life, you have been taking in oxygen, you've been taking in food and drinks, you've been taking in everything that the world has to offer. What did we give back to the earth? What did we give back to the world? How much? What does the world need from us? Nothing. What can we really benefit the world? Nothing much. We only destroy the earth anyway, right? With our air cons and our fridges and our, what do you call that, disposables. We have never contributed to the development of the earth in any way. We have been usurping the earth, right? And because that's why we are receiving. We are receiving and receiving and receiving. Therefore, anything that is the creator, the owner of everything, and the one who provides us everything, therefore he is the ultimate lawgiver. He has the right to tell us, do this at this particular point of time, think like this, move like that, eat like that, dress like that, go to work like that, don't go to work like that, and stuff like that. And this is not too uncommon to understand in Singapore. Alright? There's certain things you can't do in Singapore. Right? You can't beat the traffic light, you'll get a fine. We submit ourselves in that sense. We become a subject to the constitution of Singapore, their charters and stuff like that. Anyone who breaks the law of Singapore, then you face the repercussion of breaking the law. Either if it's too extreme, then you go and serve some time in jail. If it's not, it's a summon, at least. Right? Even if it's a parking fine. Right? Even if you park wrongly your motorbike, you get a fine. So what then happens to society? We discipline ourselves. We have order even in the traffic. We have order. We don't park our motorbikes anyhow. Even though I was tempted to park very close to SMU, but we have to know, we have to go a bit further to park our motorbikes and walk 5 minutes down. Yeah, even though I can just park below the SMU building, but what will happen? They will either clam me or they'll ask me to pay a fine. This is a motorbike. But if everyone thinks like that, then how many motorbikes is SMU building going to accommodate below? It will be an unsightly mess. It will cause inconvenience to everybody that comes to SMU building, right? So order is important. Subjecting ourselves to disciplinary regulations is important. Therefore, but who has really the highest right? The one who owns everything, the one who gives everything, and the one who created everything. Doesn't he have a right over the food that you eat, over the dress that you wear, over the thought that you have, over the belief that you believe in? Yeah? And once one has understood, oh, sorry, there is a bit of on the, it's not the way this is written. Anyway, So the one who has understood this and wants to declare his loyalty and his commitment to only one God, how does he start his journey as a Muslim? Meaning the one who submits and admits there is only one God. He declares this once in Arabic. Meaning, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. To say in English is to say and to admit, to testify, I believe there's only one God who is worthy of worship. There is none other than Allah, the one who created it all, who is independent, who has no forms or shapes or measurements of color, and I bear witness and I admit that Prophet Muhammad is the messenger of God who was commissioned by God himself to send down the revelation and to follow his guidance. Right? It's as simple as that. There is no basic, there is no shower ceremony or baptism or anything to pay as a stipend to the Muslim Council of Singapore or anything like that to become a Muslim now. Right? In fact, the Muslim Society will support you and give you gifts and stuff like that when you do official conversions. Right? So that's simple as that to become a Muslim. There's no official ceremony. As long as you understood that deep down in your heart, technically or spiritually, you are already Muslim. You are a servant of God. The admittance and that worldview and that correct alignment of thoughts, you are technically Muslim in your heart, spiritually. The rest comes for administrative purposes. Yeah? Once one believes in the oneness of God and he knows that God is the one who's giving him everything, therefore what should we do? A conscious person, a responsible person would want to thank someone who is doing him a lot of favor. Yeah, him or she, him or her, right? Anyone who keeps on receiving unconditional love. What does our heart wants to do? We want to thank that person. We want to love that person. We want to talk to that person. We want to get close to that person. Because why? That person is so unconditional in the love to us. But we have been always brushing it off. So once understand that God is the one who's doing everything, then God guides us to form that intimate relationship with Him by praying 5 times a day. The evidence are many in the Quran. One here, 2 we have established over here. In chapter 20, verse 14, God says, indeed, He introduces Himself, indeed I am God. Indeed I am God. There is no other deity except me. So worship me and establish prayer to remember me, meaning to acknowledge me and to thank me and to have an intimate relationship with me. Yeah? In chapter 20, verse 14. And then another chapter in Surah Maryam. It's interesting that we quoted this here. This is a chapter which speaks about Virgin Mary. Yeah, there is a chapter dedicated to Virgin Mary. Right? Which is chapter 19. So have a look see in the Quran that we have given you or in the app that you can refer to. And it is mentioned over here about Jesus. When God speaks about Jesus, He is referring to Him. Jesus mentions this. He has made me blessed wherever I am and enjoined upon me prayer and zakah, which means the obligatory arm, as long as I remain alive. So prayer and charity is not only for the Muslim. Prophets of old and communities of old have been given the same commandment, even though there are differences of regularity, how many times they must do, how much they must give and accept. Right? The different Sharia, the different regulations. So Muslims. Oh, honey. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Then don't forget to take your honey. Did you give the 2 person who just said?
Oh, yeah.
They have to leave. So if you take a look at this diagram over here, Muslims pray 5 times a day. There's something called the subuh prayer in the early morning before the sun rises. That's called the dawn prayer. They call it the dawn prayer. Huh? It's talked about there's also an app that you can refer to. The local one is called Muslim SG. Yeah, you can download it Android. Yeah, I mean you can download it. It's good. There are articles also that you can refer to in Singapore context. You can guide your friends along. Muslim SG, no? You have no internet. So if you refer to today's timetable, the dawn prayer starts at 5:34. Yeah. Why does it change per day? Because you might have studied astronomy, the sun moves, right? The solar system moves. Therefore, the difference in the rising of the sun's timing and the setting of the sun. That's why there are daily changes in the prayer time. Meaning we are in tune with how the universe moves. and nothing is constant, right? So there's the prayer early in the morning, which is about 5:30, and then that time frame for the early morning subuh prayer, they call it, yeah, it ends when the sun rises. So we have about an hour and a half to perform the early morning prayer. You wake up and you say thanks and grace to God. Thank you for waking me up, for giving me one more day of life, because life is expensive and valuable. No one can wake me up for that day or today even, other than the one who wakes me up. Not the alarm clock, by the way. The alarm clock doesn't have any power to wake you up. Doesn't have any power. Right? And then there's something called the Zohar prayer. The Zohar prayer starts when the shadow of an object equals to the length of that object. So in our terms, Zohar starts at 1:04 today. About 1:04, your lunchtime break. You take a moment, take 5, and then you have your lunch or before lunch. Go and say grace and prayer to God. Say thank you for everything you've done for me from 7 until 1 p.m. God. Everything I've accomplished in my work, in my school, in my recreation, in my sleep is due to you. Thank you. I want to talk to you. Don't you want to talk to your beloved? Don't you want to catch up on your beloved? Right? Spend some time with the one whom you cherish the most. God is the one who cherishes you a lot. So you take a 5, and then you do certain actions which actually the benefit is not for God, it's for you. You do certain movements which I will show you in a short while. The benefit is for you, for your blood regulations and your blood circulation, and for you to have balance in yourself, because work is stressful, work is oppressive. They are monster bosses, right? Don't give you a break. But God said, take a break. Take a break from everybody and come to the real boss. And bend down and stretch your back and watch out yourself a little bit, massage yourself, get yourself rejuvenated and refreshed, and come to me and speak to me. Speak to me who doesn't disappoint. Speak to me who doesn't disappoint, who will never disappoint. And then there is a prayer called Asar, which is an evening prayer when the sun is about to set and the shadow of an object is more than that particular object. Then there's something called the Asar prayer or the evening prayer, and the sun starts to set. Another 5 minutes to take a break and say, God, thank you for everything. The sun is about to set, meaning the day is about to end. Thank you for giving me one more day of life, right? 8 hours, 12 hours given me. And when the sun sets, we thank God when the sun has set. As a family, we go back home, or in the mosque or wherever you are. As a family, we do a congregation prayer called the Maghrib or the sunset prayer. You say a prayer together, and it's a communal activity supposed to be, right? To remember God, to take a moment off, right? And then there's something called Isha prayer, where the sun has fully set, and then you see the redness of the sky has become dark. There's something called Isha prayer. Do you remember your boyfriend number and phone and your girlfriend number? You memorized already? No? But you didn't know, not yet, huh? Well, there's another number I would like you to become familiar with. 24434. So Subuh, Zohar, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. Alright. So if you notice over here, there's something called Subuh. Just now we mentioned the dawn prayer. How many sets do we do in the morning? 2 repetitions. Some of you go to the gym, right? This is 1 rep, this is 2 rep, 3 rep. Breathe in when you pull, breathe out when you put down. Correct or not? The opposite. Sometimes inside. Anyway, so 2 reps of standing up, bowing down, and prostration. We will show you in a short while. I got another video to show you. Right? And Zohar is 4 repetitions of standing up, bowing down, and 2 prostration. Yeah? Then Asr is another 4 reps. Maghrib is another 3 reps. And Isha, the late night prayer, is another 4 reps, which we are all about to do when we go back home after class. Right? And there are some prerequisites for the prayer. There's something called the azan. You might have heard it on radio in Singapore, wherever you are. You might have heard the azan. That is basically the call to prayer, right? And there's some prerequisites to enter prayer, which we don't have time to cover in this 4 weeks crash course, right? But I'll show you a small video. So I would like you to take a look at this video. and observe how the Muslims pray. And this is the holy site of Makkah. Yeah. Take a look, see. And that's the call to prayer. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا
استووا اعتدلوا الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ولكم فيها ما تشتهي أنفسكم ولكم فيها ما تدعون نزلا من غفور رحيم ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا ولك الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا فلا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون أولئك أصحاب الجنة خالدين فيها جزاء بما كانوا يعملون ووصينا الإنسان بوالديه إحسانا حملته أمه كرها ووضعته كرها وحمله وفصاله 30 شهرا حتى إذا بلغ أشده وبلغ 40 سنة قال رب أوزعني أن أشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علي وعلى والدي وأن أعمل صالحا ترضاه وأصلح لي في ذريتي إني تبت إليك وإني من المسلمين أولئك الذين نتقبل عنهم أحسن ما عملوا ونتجاوز عن سيئاتهم في أصحاب الجنة وعد الصدق الذي كانوا يوعدون. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
That is a quick video on how the Islamic prayer is done. So, if you also notice in the video, there is this big black structure that's called the Kaaba. The Muslims pray to that black structure. It's basically a directional place where everyone points towards, whether you're in Singapore or wherever you are, we find a compass and we face towards that direction to have oneness of direction for administrative purposes. When you stand at the parade square facing your parade commander, everyone faces towards the parade commander, right? Have you ever seen NDP? National Parade, same. So basically that Kaaba, that structure is called Kaaba. Wherever you are, where do we face towards? Not that God is literally here, no, God is free from space. But human beings, we need a space, and we need directions, right? So we as human beings, we turn towards the Kaaba to have oneness of direction. Yeah? And then, regardless of whether you are, maybe you're a big CEO of one company, you are maybe a janitor in the toilet, you stand side by side. You're a new Muslim, you're old Muslim, you're Singaporean red passport or whatever passport, Bangladesh passport or Pakistan passport, stand side by side. There's no difference between man and woman. There's no ranks and hierarchy. Regardless of whatever your work destination is in your company, you are in the eyes of God same. You worship God in the same manner. Right? God doesn't see your suwar, your appearances and how expensive your clothes are. He looks at your heart. Yeah, and it doesn't. Another thing is We do not have any difference of opinion on how should we worship God, in which language do we worship God, in which manner, regardless of wherever you learn Islam, in Singapore, in China, or in Australia, you come together. There is no rehearsal, like a dry rehearsal that we do for NDP. There's only one, straight away. If it's Isha, we go there, the Imam, this is the Imam is the leader, the facilitator. Not that he is praying on behalf of us. There is no intermediary between us and God. He is just the parade commander, in other words. He just says the commands. Sedia. And everybody goes, Sedia. So he says, Allah Akbar, and we move. In one orchestrated manner, in oneness, in unity. Right? And he recites what they call the Surah Al-Fatiha we showed you 2 weeks ago. Right? In every recitation, the first chapter is the first chapter of the Holy Quran. Take a look, see, in your blue, open the first page. Surah Al-Fatiha. That's what he recited in the Arabic language. There are 7 verses which are often repeated in every rap. Basically, that's the pledge for every Muslim. Every Muslim, whether nominal or practicing, would have memorized by heart Surah Al-Fatiha. Right? Whether they know the meaning or not is another issue. Right? So we pray in one manner, in one language, in one orchestrated manner, to show that there's only one unity. There's unity in praying towards God. There's no difference of opinion. How we pray to God, how many reps we pray to God, in which direction do we pray, and how it's supposed to be read and stuff like that. There is no difference of opinion, right? These policemen are not praying because they are security guards lah. That's why they excuse of praying. After that, they were praying on their own. They've got a job to do to protect the imam. That's the VIPs, you see. Yeah. So after that, they move on to something called the ruku. So they move on to something called the ruku. They bow down, stretch their necks towards God in one manner. It's a very beautiful sight, right? And a majority of them do not understand Arabic, by the way, because they're not native Arabs. But there's no problem in coordinating in the same manner. When the Imam says Allah Akbar, everybody knows how to do, what to do. Even if you took a prayer course with us here 4 weeks, you will know what to do there. And you will know Fatiha by then, if you took a serious approach to learning Surah Fatiha. Right? After that, they do prostrations. 2 prostrations. That is one repetition. Standing up, bowing down, and 2 prostrations to God. To put the highest of the high to the lowest of the low and say, I surrender, God, you are the highest. But when you study physiology and what they call that, physiotherapy and stuff like that, when you notice there are certain places they call the runner's back. Some of you run up for back pain, right? Right? When you do certain things, whether you're big or small and or a bit bigger size and stuff like that, you're able to accomplish these stances very easily. Whether you are young or old, also easily you can accomplish these stances. And if you have to study the physics behind it, there's a lot of benefits for the young and the old. And then when you go to prostration, when you put your head down and you raise your chest up, meaning your heart up, and then blood flows to a place where if you do not do a handstand, blood will not be able to reach to the tip of your head, and then blood circulates. For what? For you to have wellness of body. Right? Because there's certain places we are rushing against gravity, you see, and we never put our head down. That's why you have a bit of headaches and this and that, because we do not know how to maintain this vehicle called the body, this BMW that you have. It's a Rolls Royce, it's a Bentley. If you do not maintain it properly, you will run. Yeah, if you don't pump air into your tires, it will run, but it will not be as efficient. Right? And it might come to a point where it might malfunction after 50 years or 40 years. Right? And if you take a good look at the translation that the Imam was reciting, these are beautiful verses from the Quran. One of it speaks about taking care of your parents and being filial to them, and you wean off the baby after 30 months, which is about 2 years. Right? That's the ideal time to wean off a baby from nursing him, right? And then you reach a good maturity at 40 years, and many other things. And these are many things, even scientifically, right? So that's a bit on the prayer. Let's move on to the next quickly before we go into the Q&A. So the third pillar of Islam is called the zakat. Zakat is basically to take out a certain percentage of tax from the rich to balance off for the vulnerable members of society who are less or disadvantaged, so that the rich do not become richer and the poor become poorer. So we that help to balance the socio-economic stability and equity, right? So that the gap between the poor and the rich doesn't get wider and wider and wider, and the elite rich becomes richer and richer and richer. And what do? They oppress us, right? And then there's a vicious cycle of poverty. We goes around. Then there's many other influences which come from disadvantaged families, single parent families, right? And there are many other vices which comes along with the poverty cycle. So we link them up with something called the zakat. The rich take up, and it's not too uncommon in Singapore. According to your social status or economic status, we will pay the tax, income tax, property tax, house tax, so many tax to pay. So, but this tax is only 2.5% that you take out if you are considered among the people who have about 86 grams of gold worth of gold in your wealth, in your property, right? You take out only 2.5%. How much is 2.5%? If you divide into 40, you take out one part. 39 you keep for 1 year. 39 you keep. One go and look around for the people who are disadvantaged in your family, in your society, in your community, help them out. They are your brothers. They are your team members in humanity. You and him say, God has given you extra, so take care of the poor. They are your brothers. They are your brethren. Yeah. So we balance of the socio-economic gap. It must not get bigger. Before you guys studied all these principles in SMU, God has already given us the socio-economic, how to balance off all this gap between the poor and the rich. And if everyone were to follow sincerely, there would not be any poor in the society. The modern system fails us, right? And you all going to read the YMF and everything. Anyway, it's not to have stinginess in the heart and to think that you keep on holding and holding, you need more, you need more, you need more. What does the society tell you? They send you fear. What if not enough? What if not enough? What if not enough? Money not enough, money not enough, money not enough. Genuine movie. Right? No, money enough. We have enough, we take care of our neighbors. These are Abrahamic principles also. Yeah. So there is zakat. How much to give if you have about 86 grams, which is, and the other thing is inflation. How come it's inflation all the time? The value doesn't stay. What is it based upon? Fiat money. What's money then? Go and read about history. SMU students especially. Is it real stuff? What's this money based upon? What's its value? My father used to be in the money changing line. I can't understand. Every time you check the rate, how come today up, today down? So you on the phone, closing deals, then today the rate good, today the rate down. I can't understand. And we realize that we grow old and we read all this stuff, it's just deceiving us. It's just numbers, not based on gold. And you go realize, okay, we don't go into that. We're not talking. But anyway, it's some real money is supposed to be work on commodities like gold, those real stuff. That paper money was supposed to be redeemed from the bank for real gold. What did these people do in history? They took gold first. They say it was prohibited for any people in a particular state of the world. You must give me all your gold. We will keep it for you. It's impermissible for you to keep gold after a certain date in history, 1933 or 1922 something. Give me all your golds. We'll buy it from you at 20 ounce, $20 an ounce. After what did they do in 10 years later? They increased to $35 an ounce. And then say, if you want to get back your gold, you pay 35 for your gold that you sold to me at 20. They ripped you off. They ripped us off. And then eventually they had no more gold because they were lending money in. And that is just a paper. Banana money, if you all remember in history, like the Japanese money became banana money. It's just paper, you can just burn it. You can just carry it, it doesn't have any work. Right? So that's the modern economics. But anyway, so it is obligatory to take out 2.5% from your yearly saving and give it away. And there's something called zakat in Ramadan, where even if you do not have about $7,000 in your bank for 1 year, right? Everyone who has enough money to buy a meal for Hari Raya, we take $5 and we give to the one who doesn't have even that amount of money, so that they can enjoy a decent meal on a special occasion like Hari Raya. Yeah, for them and their family. There's called something called zakat fitr. Who are eligible to receive? There are 8 specific members of society whom God says these are where you must spend that money, because 100% of the money comes from me. I allow you to have a livelihood. I gave you life to work. No one will employ you if you don't have hearing to hear and sight to see. I'm going to give you a livelihood. So take 2.5% from the money I gave you, go and help out the members of my society, because all of us are citizens of God. And the biggest constitution belongs to him, because he created it, everything. He created it, he owns it, he provides. Therefore, he gives us the constitution how to balance our money. No, it's not technically our money, it's his money. So he says, keep, all you stingy people, keep 97.5% for yourself, because I know you have this and that, but 2.5% go and give it up. Okay, and then becomes the command. And if you fail to do so, and the gap between the rich and the poor becomes wider, and eventually leads into many other things like civil war and stuff like that, and blah blah blah. That's history, right? So there are 8 members of society which we need to take care: the poor and the destitute, the workers who are commissioned to authorize to collect the zakat, the converts, the new Muslims, the people in debt and slavery, meaning in modern times. The people who are in the poverty cycle, who can't go and study, you give them grants to study, there's no need to pay back, we give you zakat, go and study. And the people who work for God and the stranded wayfarer. So there are 8 members of society who are eligible to receive zakat. Number 4, fourth pillar in Islam is to fast in the month of Ramadan. As God mentions in Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 183, He says, "Oh, you believe, fast. It's been decreed upon you to fast, as was decreed upon those who were before you." Right? The community of Jesus and Abraham and Moses, they too fasted. Even though the regularities of the number of days is different. For our community, it's 30 days or 29 days in Ramadan. Right? We go by the lunar calendar, by the way. So we don't have 31 days. We go by the moon. Yeah? Why it's fasting again or day is to depend upon God, to get closer to God, and also to form a communal universe or international communal activity in that month of Ramadan. Right? Everyone wakes up at the same time. We have our breakfast together. We have our dinner together. We pray a lot together. Right? What does it do? It strengthens families. It strengthens communities. It strengthens God consciousness. Apart from, of course, taking care of the vulnerable. And then the fifth pillar is not, as we told you just now, one who has enough sufficient means and money and etc. to perform a pilgrimage, which actually we are very timely. It is this month where people are departing, they're packing their bags. The month of Dhul Hijjah is in a week, right? They will perform basically reservists. Reservists, a record order to come and serve your Lord. So come and remember God. Go and spend some time, 2 weeks. Some of them have high key, some of them have low key. Some of them spend a bit longer, some of them, because of their work, they spend a bit shorter days, right? But at certain days, everybody gathers. That particular number of days, everybody must be there, performing the same thing, in the same manner that Prophet Abraham performed the tawaf and the sa'i and etc. and the sacrifice. Right? So it's a universal pilgrimage to strengthen unity in God and unity in brotherhood or sisterhood. To know that we are one, where we came from, and we're going to return back to the same destination. Yeah? So there are a few rituals that people perform in Hajj, which is quite technical, which we will not discuss in this class. Right? And let us show you another video. Do you have time? Oh. Let's see. You want to see video or don't see? Ah, okay, you say one, huh? No, I say one, huh? Okay, that's the last video for the day. So take a look, see at the videos. 10 minutes long though. Again? Oh, speed 1.5, that's what I get. Two. 1.75, let's try. Yeah, then.
Holy Mysteries, in theaters in September 2009. Mecca has been ordered as Qibla direction, the nation place for billions of Muslims, and as the health center of Islam. Soon, you will witness the scientific proof of unbelievable mysteries that have remained hidden in the holy city, Mecca, for thousands of years. The constant, superior design number of mathematics, 1.618. The Creator has always used the very same number in numerous events in the universe. In our heart pulses, the aspect ratio of DNA spiral, and the special design of the universe, which is named as dodecahedron, and the leaf array rules of plants, which is named as phyllotaxy, in the snowflakes, crystals, in the spiral structure of numerous galaxies. The Creator has used the same number, the number of golden mean, 1.618. It is observed that this ratio is applied to the pyramids of Egypt, like it was applied to various famous architectural works. Famous astronomer Kepler defines this number as a precious treasury. As the vision expert Dr. Stephen Markout was proved as a result of his 25-year-long study that human faces and bodies designed pursuant to this ratio are accepted as beautiful by every single person in the world. If the aspect ratio of any form is 1.618, then this form is convenient to golden mean. Perfect design. So, where is the golden mean point of the Earth? The proportion of distance between Mecca and the North Pole to the distance between Mecca and the South Pole is exactly 1.680, the golden mean. Moreover, the proportion of the distance between the South Pole and the city of Mecca to the distance between both poles is again 1.618. The miracle is not over yet. The golden mean point of the Earth, according to common location language of mankind, graticule map, is in the city of Mecca. The proportion of eastern elongation to the western elongation, which are determined as solstice line from Mecca, is again 1.618. Moreover, as shown in the figure, the proportion of western elongation of Mecca to the solstice line to the perimeter of the Earth on this very latitude is surprisingly the golden mean, 1.618. The golden mean point of the Earth, for all mapping systems, even though they vary a few kilometers, is always within the city borders of Mecca, within the holy region that includes Kaaba. You can measure very sensitively the distance between any 2 points with help of Google Earth's ruler feature. If you wish, you can verify the correctness of the given ratios by calculating latitude and longitude with a simple calculator. The Thematrix program is an American program that is used to show golden mean of pictures and paintings. If we accept the graticule map of the Earth as an alive painting whose depth never ends and open it in this program, we will find out that the golden mean point of the Earth is the city of Mecca. With respect to positive longitude and latitude values and being on the lens, not the sea, the only golden mean point of the Earth is Mecca. Miracles continue. The golden mean miracle in the Mecca verse of the Quran. There is one unique verse in the Quran that includes Mecca word and an expression that tells there are clear evidences within the city which will give belief to humanity. The relation between the city of Mecca and the golden mean is clearly engraved in the Ali Imran Surah, 96th verse. The total number of all letters of this verse is 47. Calculating the golden mean of letter total, we find out that the word of Mecca is expressed by 47 divided by 1.618 equals 29. There are 29 letters from the beginning of the verse till the word Mecca. Just like if this is a world map. If only one single word or letter was missing, this ratio could never be constituted. Without any impairment, we have conducted the very same process that we conducted on the Earth map and witnessed the glorious coherence of letter numbers that reveals the relation of Mecca and the Golden Mean. All this shows that the creator of the earth and mathematics is the same one God. Back it is.
I'll give you the link to continue watching the rest of the video so you can appreciate it more, right? So, alhamdulillah, we have come to one of the conclusion of our Fighters Islam. What I will also implore all of you is take an opportunity to go and visit your nearest masjid or your nearest mosque, especially for the brothers and sisters who are not Muslims yet. Go and take a look-see at the nearest masjid. If you are too shy or too scared to enter a masjid, come and join us on Tuesday, Saturday, or Friday, where we can bring you inside the masjid and show you around. Right? Just bring along modest clothing, you're fully dressed and etc. The shawl is not a compulsory thing, but you're going to wrap the shawl around your head. It's also recommended. But come and look and see. And what's really inside the masjid? What do Muslims do? So what you see for yourself is able to give you much more information. And this one, inshallah, is basically a whole navigation map on what we're supposed to do after we become a Muslim, or as a Muslim, where do we start and how do we end our journey? What are the goals or the KPIs in life? Which is a lifelong pursuit of learning. So we also implore to everyone who's already Muslim to continue learning. Right? Go and find a teacher. Right? If you do not know where to find a teacher, come and join us. There are many other options. Right? Or we guide you to your appropriate. What you need to do is first pillar of Islam is what is the action which is co-joined with the first pillar of Islam? Seeking knowledge, certainty. Yeah? And anyone who wants to declare your Shahada tonight, we also welcome you to share the joy of you becoming a Muslim spiritually. We will be able to guide you tonight because you do not know what happens tomorrow. So at least reaffirm what you deep down you believe you want to be a Muslim. That means you return back to your Lord, you acknowledge your Lord as your Lord, that He is the only one who's giving you. We will guide you today also, maybe after the session. Anyone wants to come and see us personally, we also welcome you to do so. Right? So you can also always contact me. This is my WhatsApp number or Telegram number. If you've got any personal messages that you miss, just drop me a text. Yeah? Or can you just give me more this and that? We'll be happy to help you get what you need, inshallah. So now we open up the Q&A section. So ask. Understand?
Now,
Yeah, ask, sure.
just curious, because I wasn't covered. Actually, mine was really covered.
We fully covered.
Yeah.
Like a lady.
Yeah.
Okay, today I purposely dressed down because this is usually my friends will not see me in denim. It's the first time, I think. Usually I'm a bit more get dressed in a bit more traditional, like the sister sometimes they wear the long one. We have the men's equivalent called the jubah, or like Brother Owais who wears a traditional baju kurung or baju Melayu. Right, there are cultural influences from that which are very deeply rooted with Islamic culture. Number one, why do Muslims, especially the women, drape themselves with something called the hijab or the tudung in our understanding? Is first and foremost, that's because the constitution of God says dress modestly. Now, when you go to school in primary school, why do you wear school uniform? Some all wear shorts, until secondary 2. Then they give us the permission to wear the long pants. Right? Why do you wear school uniforms to school? Because that's the school rules. You subscribe to that school, you have a certain uniform. Now you go to the hospital line. The nurses have to dress in a certain manner. Why? Because that is the constitution from the institution. Now they have allowed the Muslim nurses to drape their hijab, but with certain regulations because they have to handle blood and stuff like that. That's fine because that's their rules. You go to the police force, you're going to be dressed in blue. You go to the army, you're dressed in green. Now each institution have their uniforms. Now, just now we showed you for relationship between us and God. The one who owns everything and creates everything, and the one who's determines every aspect of your life, has given us a code of conduct, what's good and what's not good in terms of preventing yourself from harm, and also to maintain a universal sort of uniformity on how we should look like or how much we should dress. Now, if you look at among all the sisters, they are carrying the crown upon the head. Automatically, you can identify, oh, this must be a Muslim. If I need be, I can ask anything about this Islam to this person. Maybe Tasha is the only Muslim friend that you know. And then, so you can go to her and say, hey, how come Tasha? Why did you become Muslim? And what's that? And so you wouldn't ask that to a non-Muslim who's not draped in the hijab. So actually, ladies, you've been given extra honor. Automatically, people know that you must be Muslim. So you must also be approachable at the same time. Don't put a barrier between you and other people. But unfortunately, it happens. Now, putting a tudung doesn't mean you become Malay. I'm not Malay. So becoming a Muslim doesn't mean I become Malay. Though I have been mistaken that you should be Malay. You should know Malay by Muslim. Even by Muslims. You should know Malay. I speak market Malay, but you don't ask me to do literature Malay. I can't do that. Right? We speak Tamil, we speak other languages, we speak, So misconception in Singapore is if you become Muslim, you're automatically Malay. You must know Malay language. Not necessarily. Many non-Malay speaking people over here. Ask them. All right. But it is also a good thing for Nusantara region. That's a different thing. Right. So why do we dress in a certain manner? I also purposely dress down today to show you that actually as long as it covers your modesty, it covers the principles of moderate, decent wear, you're good to go. You go to the istana, they will give you a code of conduct. You must be dressed down in smart casual or traditional wear or batik. You can't enter a certain ceremony just how you are dressed. Even you go to clubbing, you cannot wear slipper. So even clubbing also go rule. They will not let you enter. So every institution has their application of you should be dressed in a certain manner for the benefits of the less of it. Right? So for a Muslim, we dress in a certain manner to prevent ourselves from being harmed and also to portray that, look, I'm a Muslim. You want to ask me anything about Islam? Come. Yeah, I can be dressed like that, but it can be easily identified that this guy is probably a Muslim. So it's a lot of benefits and purposes why Muslims dress in a certain manner, but first and foremost is because God says so. Boss says so. You go to the army, you got to put on number 4. All right, there's a certain instance where you can put on number 1, or the police force. All right, nowadays policemen wear shorts again. That's for their patrolling. So there's a reason, and there is easy identification why you some of us drive or ride, right? You see a TP motorcycle, you slow down automatic. You will never speed. Maybe you're speeding, but once you see that, you know the identification of the TP motorbike, the traffic police, you will automatically slow down. It's like an auto trigger. You don't want to mess with, getting a speeding ticket. So there's easy identification. For what? That you are a servant of God. You want to ask me anything about Islam? Come, be approachable. So I hope that answers your question. Next question. Faith. Got a question now? Faith. Be faithful. Mr. Poe. Yes. You first. Those in the audience first. Us.
For my religion, there's this thing where we pray for our ancestors. So
pray for ancestors. So basically, the Islamic conclusion is very clear. Pray only to your Creator. Do not pray to creations. The distinction is very clear. We only worship one God. What can we do? We can appreciate our ancestors, but not pray to them because they can't help you. That distinction is very clear.
Not like praying for them.
You can pray for them. We pray for our people who have passed away. We pray for their goodness and wellness and etc. But so they are. Can I pray for a non-Muslim ancestor? If that's the question, then there are different opinions about it because the person who's not a Muslim passes away in a state that is not in a state of Islam, and you will never know who is a Muslim and who's not, who truly believe in their heart. You never know. So you cannot easily brush off, oh, everybody is non-Muslim. Also cannot. Because God knows deep down if they have believed in oneness of God or not. Maybe they don't have access to all this information that you have, and etc. So the only Muslims that they met were not so good people, so they didn't have a good impression of Islam. So they won't be the same accountability like regular people who has access to information. Right? So what you can do for them, you put your prayers to God and say, God, give what is best for them. For you created them. So that in a manner you want to pray for your non-Muslim relative, you surrender your affairs to God and say, God, you take care of them because you created them. You are more merciful to them and I'm more merciful to my parents or whatever. But what we can't do is ancestral worship in the sense that the Chinese community does, is to pray to them and to offer incense, and in the Hungry Ghost festival, we burn paper money and stuff like that. Now, to have the belief that actually that benefits them, it's you are actually associating partnership with God. To think that that belief is helping them. That is called shirk, which is against the central principles of La ilaha illallah. That part we have to avoid. But what we can do, go for death anniversaries, be there for the yearly anniversary, be there, but don't participate. And you can force your Muslim partner to participate also. But what you should do is be there. And then you just observe with respect. Say, you guys go ahead, I'll be here. Then time to eat and stuff like that. Can you eat, partake from those food that was offered? That's again another question, which is quite commonly asked. Try to avoid, so you bring your own food. And then tell them, oh, I have dietary right. I'm a vegan. Say again? Well, if it's halal, then okay. You gotta tell them and respectfully tell them. And if they can't respect your choices as a mature adult, then they need some education. Because you're an adult. Right? Everybody makes choices. Sometimes you like to eat rice, sometimes you don't like to eat rice. So you can't be forced at this age. But you got to respectfully put to them, but not argue. Don't use religion as a means of argument and breaking down family ties. No, that one we shouldn't do as any religious faith. Right? We should respect each other, and we should have the ability to respect different opinions because it's your right. And you do not need to be shy and always be a people's pleaser. And sometimes, not everybody will be happy with you, even if you're doing the right thing. That is evidence that you're doing the right thing sometimes, but not all the time. Huh? People will not be happy with you because they can't understand where you're from. And you can't educate someone who's ignorant about things. So there's a saying which says that the ignorant will always be enemy of what he doesn't know. Because he doesn't know. So you always oppose. Cannot, why you become Malay? Why you join why you abandon this? So it's not about changing your identity to become Malay or Pakistani or Arab. No. It's about shifting your plane of thoughts to a higher paradigm. And be free from superstitions, free from blind traditions. You're doing things the organic way, the right way. That's what being a Muslim means. Being away from risky stuff in terms of belief, in terms of, and then you see, when you say organic, we don't harm the environment. When we pray, we don't burn stuff. We don't kill the plants or put smoke into the air and carbon, etc. What do? We help the poor. We pray in the prayer mat. We give food to the people who are fasting. We go on a pilgrimage to spend time closer to God. It's so organic. There's only help for the community. We don't burn down elements in nature, right? Yeah, we don't do that. If you think about it. Questions from the floor, please. Okay, let's go to Sayyid. Do you have to pay zakat, fitrah, sir? If they are eligible, if you know anyone who is eligible recipient as a zakat, go and give to them in need directly. It's better than giving to organization which takes 1 year to pay out. Yeah, just say really, we take 1 year to pay out because so much of administrative things. So if you know a person directly, your neighbor or in your neighborhood, people are staying in rental flat, they are fakir miskin or in that category, go and give them directly, settle. Why does the divine decree explain things like suicide or murder, since these actions were committed out of free will? Now God knows that this person may do certain action, but the action wasn't forced upon him. He was the one who used his free will in a wrong way. Curious, why doesn't God just give money to the poor? Why give us money, then give us to give zakat? Because God created us to test us. He gave some more and some less. There was a question asked, why doesn't God do anything about oppression that's happening around the world? The question is, why didn't you do anything? It's not why didn't God do anything? What are you doing about oppression in your community? Hope that answers the question. If my hand is wet from performing istinja, this one, please take up a quick course, come on Friday night circle. In the slide, you say the universal plan of unity to attain peace and justice. What does peace and justice refer to? Meaning, social justice, economic justice, and etc. So that we live together, work as a team to achieve peace and equality. The Singapore pledge, some of us say, right? We pledge, prosper, I forget it. Right? All those stuff, all those objectives are actually Islamic objectives. How is zakat distributed? Whatever country, this one is a big question. So go and take up a quick course and hopefully you will answer with that. Why does the Shahada include believing in the Prophet in many ayat? God says there's mercy as long as one does not. Yeah, the second part of the certification of faith, you have to declare that Prophet Muhammad is the messenger of God, so that we do not attribute divinity to Prophet Muhammad, like previous prophet were attributed divinity. So Prophet Muhammad is a prophet, finished, he's a man, but he's a mighty man. So you cannot be part of God, you cannot be son of God, you cannot be daughter of God, you cannot be part of God, or sitting on the right side of God. All of this, discrepancies in faith. To avoid that, God says, Ashhadu la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. He's a messenger. There's a clear line between who's God and who's not God. The second part is very important. Right? So say that cleanliness is half of marriage. Is this referring? Cleanliness, marriage, half of faith. Is this referring 6 articles? No, this is a different aspect of the Sharia, which falls under other aspects of fiqh. Fiqh means jurisprudence. Why God? Why God not make everybody Muslim? He does declare this in the Quran. If He will everyone to be Muslim, to submit to Him. But Allah says, Allah created you with free will so that you know Him and you worship Him willingly. You choose Him. Right? So that's your test. It's our test. What is the significant difference between the 6 articles of faith? Faith is to do with your belief system, your worldview. Pillars of Islam are to take that belief system and to put it in practical action. So belief is not just belief, but there's 3 aspects to believe. Iqra bil lisan, tasdiq bil qalb, wal amal bil jawari, meaning to believe in the heart, to say, declare it by the tongue, and to manifest by the limbs. So manifestation of your belief is in the pillars of Islam. But the minimum one is belief. Ultimatum is belief. But you got to prove that belief. You got to strengthen the belief. You got to water the belief with activities and exercises. Yeah. Quran was revealed as an angel and Torah was corrupted. What if God doesn't make a mistake? Why did He not protect the contents of the Torah in the first place? For every revelation that is sent down is to a particular community. Right? So after that particular community has received the revelation, then their mission or by the prophet has been accomplished. So whatever people does after that, it is their fallacy. Right? And which is why again God sends down a new revelation. Hope that answers the question. I can give you more reading resources about it in the Telegram group. Why does the Subuh prayer and this is a tricky question, but take up the fiqh course on Friday or find another fiqh class, inshallah. Prayer class. Why does the call to prayer tell you to come to success? Because prayer is success, and that is why the person who prays will be the person who is basically attached to God, depends on God, and he is deeply intimate with God, will be successful in this world and the next. Can you direct us to talk about the physical benefit? Okay, I will give you more resources. Go and get a book. Actually, there's a few books on the physical aspects of the prayer. Read more. Go and research. Google it. Can I eat from store which says no pork, no lard? Basically, Muslims need to abide by the halal regulation. Doesn't mean that no pork and no lard means it's automatically halal. So you need to be careful about the halal regulation. Why does God test us? So that He can raise your ranks, right? He can raise your ranks, and also to be just to the people who are oppressed, to serve retribution to the people who are perverse in their hearts. In previous generation, God shows miracles to the community. Are there any miracles now? The Quran is the living miracle of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. You are the biggest miracle of yourself. If you sit down, Allah says, God says in the Quran, Fi anfusikum afala tubsirun. Did you see within yourself many signs? How you breathe and how you think and how you blink and how you hear and how you speak. Do you think you can recreate an AI who is able to function like you? Aren't you in yourself? Did you see? Can't you see? Okay. Any last questions?